Driver pleads guilty to DUI charge, fined $150,000. Anesh Dindial, a 24-year-old driver from Vilverdon, Essequibo Coast, was charged with the offense of driving a motor vehicle while his breath alcohol level exceeded the prescribed limit. Dindial was arrested for DUI on Friday, March 14, 2025, on the Cullen Public Road, Essequibo Coast. On Friday, March 21, 2025, the case was heard at the Suddy Magistrates Court before Her Worship Magistrate Tamika Clark. The charge was presented to the defendant, who pleaded guilty. He was fined $150,000, with a default sentence of 3 months imprisonment if the fine is not paid. Cuban national pleads guilty to entering Guyana illegally, sentenced to 3 months imprisonment. Yasmil Perez Cisnero, a 39-year-old Cuban national, was arrested on March 14, 2025, and charged today, Monday, with the offense of arriving in Guyana by sea and disembarking without the consent of an immigration officer, contrary to Section 34(1)(c) of the Immigration Law, Offenses, Act, Chapter 1401. The defendant appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Magistrate Fabio Azor, where the charge was read to him. He pleaded guilty and was subsequently sentenced to 3 months of imprisonment. Taxi driver charged for DUI, granted $50,000 bail. Premchand Manman, a 42-year-old taxi driver from Bushlot, Essequibo Coast, was charged with the offense of driving a motor vehicle while his breath alcohol level exceeded the prescribed limit. Manman was arrested on March 10, 2025, on the Ana Regina Public Road, Essequibo Coast. On March 19, 2025, the case was heard at the Suddy Magistrates Court before Magistrate Tamika Clark, where the charge was presented to the defendant. He pleaded not guilty. Bail was granted in the sum of $50,000, and the case was adjourned until April 1, 2025, for the disclosure of statements. Zorg driver pleads not guilty to DUI charge, granted $50,000 bail. Shailandra Nareen, a 28-year-old driver from Zorg, Essequibo Coast, was charged with the offense of driving a motor vehicle while his breath alcohol level exceeded the prescribed limit. Nareen was arrested for the offense on March 14, 2025, on the Cullen Public Road, Essequibo Coast. On March 21, 2025, the case was heard at the Suddy Magistrates Court before Her Worship Magistrate Tamika Clark, where the charge was presented to the defendant. He pleaded not guilty to the charge. Bail was granted in the sum of $50,000, and the case was adjourned until April 3, 2025, for the disclosure of statements. Barber charged with discharging a loaded firearm with intent. Shaquem David, a 22-year-old barber from 4th Street, Albertown, Georgetown, was arrested on March 21, 2025, and charged today, March 24, with 2 counts of discharging a loaded firearm with intent. The accused appeared before Magistrate Fabio Azor, where the charges were read to him. He pleaded not guilty, and bail was denied. The matter has been adjourned until April 2025. Jagdeo promises glorious future ahead with PPP after next elections. By news source Guyana, Vice President Barrett Jagdeo has assured a glorious second term in office should the People's Progressive Party Civic, PPP/C, be re-elected in this year's elections. Speaking to party supporters and members on Sunday, Jagdeo indicated that the groundwork has already been laid for transformative changes across all sectors. In a campaign-style speech at Babu Jan, Quarantine, he presented a series of promises aimed at youths, senior citizens, public servants, and other citizens. Every young person will have the opportunity to apply for and receive a house lot in the next term. Although we currently have a backlog in Region 4, we will expedite progress in the other regions. This year, the president has directed that this happen. You can expect better paying jobs and world-class education in the next term. The infrastructure the president spoke about will enable you to drive from Molesien Creek to the airport on a 4-lane road, Jagdeo stated as he outlined his promises. He added that a new term for the PPP would also bring about a more diversified economy to mitigate potential fallout from the oil and gas sector. The vice president mentioned that the government is developing a formula for citizens to invest future cash grants for greater returns. The most pressing question on the minds of the people is whether there will be cash grants after we win the next elections, and the answer is yes, Mr. Jagdeo confirmed. Jagdeo reassured party loyalists that the PPP has fulfilled all promises made in 2020 and intends to do so again in the next term. Every group of Guyanese, regardless of their race, has seen that the PPP stands by its word. Our word is our bond, and when we make these promises, as President Ali articulated, you can trust that they will be delivered. We will provide the best healthcare anywhere in the world because of the 12 hospitals we are currently constructing, for which we will hire 8,000 staff to ensure they are fully operational across the country, Mr. Jagdeo remarked. Additionally, the vice president emphasized the party's commitment to empowering small contractors in the region, highlighting that more than 10,000 jobs have been restored in Region 6 since 2020. GECOM's silence on major electoral issues in an election year is worrying, says WPA. By news source Guyana, the Working People's Alliance, WPA, has expressed deep concern over the Guyana Elections Commission's, GECOM, silence regarding significant electoral issues as the nation prepares for general and regional elections this year. During a press conference today, Dr. David Hines, co-leader of the WPA, highlighted the troubling nature of GECOM's silence. He referred specifically to the recent public reprimand of GECOM's legal counsel by the chief election officer concerning an ongoing court matter, describing it as alarming. The WPA believes that the CEO's public reprimand of the legal advisor reflects the confusion and apparent partisan mindset within GECOM's secretariat. This is not the first time the legal advisor's position on the law has been at odds with this partisan approach, Dr. Hines stated. The WPA reiterated its stance that all measures should be taken to ensure that the elections are conducted in a manner acceptable to political parties and stakeholders. Given the critical importance of the upcoming elections, Hines emphasized that it is GECOM's responsibility to ensure everything is executed correctly. In a society characterized by deep divisions, the ongoing scrutiny of GECOM's impartiality could negatively impact the electoral process. If we consider the documented instances of voter impersonation and other irregularities uncovered during the recount of ballots from the 2020 elections, the opposition has legitimate reasons to be concerned about the status quo. The PPP and its affiliates have yet to convincingly argue that the implementation of biometric voting would provide the opposition with an unfair advantage. Furthermore, they have not adequately countered the opposition's assertion that the use of biometrics would significantly reduce instances of voter impersonation, he remarked. Hines concluded by stating that GECOM's actions and its silence are increasingly leading the opposition to believe that it is in collusion with the government. He stressed that in a high-stakes election, GECOM must guarantee that the electoral process and the conduct of its officials are above reproach. Citizens Bank to implement additional security measures as scammers target Visa cards. Guyana Times. In light of several Citizens Bank users being targeted by scammers, which has resulted in the inability to use their Visa debit cards at ATMs, the banking institution recently announced its plans to implement additional security measures to ensure customer safety. While the bank's systems have not been compromised, Visa cards are sometimes vulnerable to international attacks, and Citizens Bank cards have become a primary target. Our monitoring systems have been recognizing numerous attack attempts and have automatically blocked cards when we detect failed attempts to conduct unauthorized transactions. We have also identified unusual transactions from suspicious vendors, leading us to block cards to prevent further unauthorized usage, the bank disclosed. However, due to the prevalence of these attempts, the bank's protective measures have inadvertently left many customers unable to use their cards, even for ATM withdrawals. This is because the systems blocked the cards before the bank could notify customers of the action. The bank emphasized that this issue does not affect all cards but has impacted a significant number of customers. In response, Citizens Bank has been collaborating closely with Visa to roll out additional security measures aimed at minimizing these incidents and better safeguarding customer cards. They are also working diligently to provide replacement cards for affected customers. Meanwhile, as these measures are being put into place, the bank advises customers to take the following proactive steps. Monitor citizens' alerts. All customers should ensure they are signed up to receive real-time notifications for every transaction on their accounts. Use online banking. Regularly monitor your account and block your card instantly if you notice any unauthorized activity. Women's Chamber demands immediate repeal of anti-gay laws. Guyana Times. The Women's Chamber of Commerce and Industry Guyana, WCCIG, has joined the growing chorus of voices calling for the urgent repeal of outdated laws that criminalize same-sex intimacy. This declaration came in a press release following a special session at their Women and Girls Summit held at the Arthur Chung Convention Center, ACCC, last Thursday. In their report on the event, the WCCIG emphasized the need for a national conversation focused on the importance of treating all Guyanese with respect. I'm proud that the Women's Chamber is part of this conversation, stated Josephine Tapp, president of WCCIG, in her opening remarks. Especially during International Women's Day and Women's History Month, at a time when we are celebrating progress toward gender equality and reaffirming our commitment to gender justice. Tapp also commended the work of the Guyana Together campaign and urged for meaningful changes that signal inclusion. The Women's Chamber stands with Guyana Together in calling for the immediate repeal of the discriminatory laws that criminalize same-sex intimacy. These outdated, colonial-era laws do not reflect the values of 21st century Guyana, and it is long overdue for change, Tapp emphasized. Attorney-at-law Chandrawati Persad, the guest speaker at the event, pointed out that Guyana is the only South American country with laws that criminalize same-sex intimacy. These outdated laws, initially imposed on Guyana in 1893 by the British Empire, do not represent the values of today's Guyanese society, Persad noted. Most CARICOM countries have already eliminated these anti-gay laws. As more countries around the world, particularly in the Caribbean, overturn their discriminatory laws, Guyana should not delay in aligning itself with progress, she added. A 2022 poll indicated that 54% of Guyanese support the repeal of such laws, with support being even more pronounced among younger generations. Persad, who advocates for workers' rights with a background in public health, emphasized the link between health and human rights. Criminalization, along with pervasive discrimination, obstructs LGBTQ+ individuals from accessing health services, including testing and treatment for HIV and other life-saving medical care, she stated. She also highlighted how several international organizations have connected the decriminalization of same-sex intimacy to improved health outcomes and equality. Guyana is a nation rich in diversity. Every individual has value and contributes to our national fabric, which includes our gay, bisexual, and transgender family, friends, and co-workers. I urge each of you to support the Guyana Together campaign, get involved and make your voice heard, she encouraged. Persad, while calling on women leaders to support the decriminalization efforts, also stressed the importance of ending discrimination. The pursuit of empowerment for women is closely linked to the need for protections for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people, she explained. And not only because many LGBTQ+ individuals are women themselves, but because as women, we understand that challenging societal norms and identities is never easy, she added. Persad lamented that women continue to face unfair treatment, are judged by different standards, and are denied opportunities due to perceptions and stereotypes about gender. Unfortunately, sexual harassment and domestic violence remain significant issues here in Guyana, she said. Similarly, LGBTQ+ individuals continue to experience high levels of exclusion, harassment, and violence. Laws that stigmatize them only serve to perpetuate further discrimination in education, employment, healthcare, and social services, Persaud explained. She concluded her address by advocating for respect for all. Discrimination and harassment in any form is wrong. I grew up on the Essequibo Coast in a humble family where the values of hard work, persistence, and integrity were instilled. As a child, I was taught the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Respecting others means treating our gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender neighbors the way we would want to be treated, she shared. Partnering with the Guyana Together campaign, WCCIG hosted this special session to observe International Women's Day and Women's History Month.